Here's one of the pretty places I didn't get to show you to make the video. It's a new thing I've been practicing, and I mean it literally, practicing the art of doing nothing. I'm just contemplating my own thoughts. It's rather peaceful. I'm at a really pretty resort, and I'm always kind of in the back of my mind looking for maybe a little nicer backdrops for you guys to see in my videos. There's really a couple other really beautiful spots, but there's either wind or the second I open up the camera, and I mean literally the second someone starts a weed whipper, and which is odd because they don't really do yard maintenance here. But anyways, I digress. I had a couple of things in my mind to talk about, and I do need to do and want to do in a construction update, but I think I'll hit that next time. And it's been a slightly frustrating, I'll start with an update. It's been a slightly frustrating week for me, and this is frustrating on a relative scale. You can have zero sympathy for me, as you should, because the contractors were setting a pipe location and doing a few other things. I had to make a few decisions. Sometimes I have literally a minute or two to make a decision. I have to do quick arithmetic in my head or in my phone or a scratch pad and a pencil or something and say it's this or it's that or how many centimeters I want or something. Thailand isn't a big place for a lot of planning. We went with I went with Fawn and her mom, and we ordered the concrete floor one day, and then 2 days later they're setting it. Like, okay, in the U.S. you'd have floor contractors set, you'd have interviewed them, you'd have here you just drive to a place and you get a good deal. And we drove to a couple of places and they checked the price and all. I don't want to imply they didn't because they're being even more cautious about the cost than I would be with my own money. They're being extremely considerate. And then I wanted to just throw money at my motorcycle thing and then change the color I picked and just get the one out of the showroom. And apparently these things are selling like hotcakes. I didn't realize that. Most things that are expensive sell very slowly here. But as you'll see in an upcoming video that I have yet to make, when I get my bike, that is not true for all brands and all models. I didn't know that. I had no idea. I'm shocked. I'm really shocked. And I'm so dumb. I'm such a dummy. I go there and, oh yeah, those two bikes I was admiring last time sold. And I come back like another week later and, oh yeah, those other two kind of cool ones were good. This bike over here is my second choice. I come back and that's got a sold tag on it. Like, it clicked on me a little late. It's hard to believe that there's that many people spending well over 1 million baht on a freaking motorcycle. That really does, and I never see them on the road. Like when I ride mine around, I will be the only one that I've ever seen. I mean, what the heck? Where are they going? Slightly frustrating, but then I decided that let me check. I don't care. It's fine. It'll all happen when it's supposed to happen. And I got custom parts ordered, which are on order, and they've been on order for weeks, and they're going to be on order for at least 4 to 6 more weeks. So it's not going to matter much anyway. So the bummer is I've sold my old motorcycle, so now I'm bikeless. I'm just borrowing Fawn's car, which I don't like feeling like a mooch. And then I ran over or hit a dog on the highway. I didn't realize they do like a breeding season. All the dogs kind of do it at the same time. I don't know anything about dogs. This is news to me. And dogs running around like crazy everywhere and fighting. And I had no idea this was going on. And the freaking dog ran on the highway. And I beat my horn so it would continue going further away. The second I sounded the horn, the instant second, it immediately turned 180 and ran directly at the car. And, I'm on a freaking highway, and there's limits to what I can do. And I tried to dodge a little, but not enough. And now I felt bad. I've hurt an animal. I felt really terrible about that all day. And then I felt worse later about the damage to her car, which isn't major, but it's a pain in the ass. And it's the second time now Rob has hit something on the road and damaged the car. I've never done this back in America, but in America, we don't have dogs running around the highways. I've never seen that anyways. We're here, you see it all the time. I should have been more prepared. Now I know not to use the horn. Thank you. And we don't have 2x4s laying on the highway in the dark in the middle of a rainstorm. And there's other things. So I feel dumb that I did this, but on the other hand, apparently I have to admit I don't have the experience for some of this stuff. So I've been letting Fawn do more of the driving, and I've been driving more slowly. When I'm on the motorcycle, I'm in a more cautious mode, and I'm in more enjoying the moment mode. We're in the car, I'm running errands, I'm getting stuff done, and I got to get out of that mindset because that isn't healthy anyways. But those are my two frustrations, the three frustrations this week: the car, the motorcycle, and then making some quick decisions on the house. And then ultimately, I let go of the house stuff, and I told Fawn, and I said, communicate with your dad, whatever you would like. You guys decide whatever you would like. There's like 4 different variants. They're all acceptable to me to varying degrees, but ultimately, I don't care. I'm not going to care where the hell my sink is, or how thick one particular wall is, or what type of block it's made out of, as long as it's insulated block in the air-conditioned rooms, which we've all agreed on. So, all that. Fawn's watching me make a video. She just gave me the mini heart. It was fun too at this event here, the series of events at this location. A couple times I saw Thai men my age, so middle-aged or senior Thai men, I guess I have to say now, observing me, and I was with a group of younger Thai men. I made a joke. It was a pretty funny joke. I talked about Barasop Gan. I go, me Barasop Gan. I have experience. I was talking about women. That was my punchline, and all the guys. I got a really good laugh on that one. I love making a nice joke and getting them to laugh. I like doing that in English, and it's even more fun because it's really challenging here. And then all the senior Thai men like immediately turned their heads and looked at me. Who is this guy that can like speak our language to the level he's making jokes? Which that would be something a Thai person's never seen probably in their life. That's an odd thing. And not that I'm so great. I am light conversational. I understand anywhere from 60 or so percent to 85, 90% of what's being spoken to me on basic stuff. But then you get into all kinds of esoterics about work and politics and whatnot, and then all the names of all the cities, which I don't know, and all the names of all the coworkers I don't know. All of a sudden, there's all these words I don't know. Someone the other day used the word liposuction in front of me. I, well, what's that? And they showed me. I'm like, oh, okay, but why would I learn that word? So if you think about it, your vocabulary in English is massive, and it's not going to be in Thai. It's going to be a few hundred words or whatever. And again, I speak like a slightly brain-damaged 7-year-old. I can speak, read, and write Thai at a level of probably around a 7-year-old. I get this thing where I run across expats, and I've noticed that there's 3 categories that they all fall into. And it's great help for you. Here's the content. As you plan and as you come here and as you set your goals and lay out your homework for yourself to come here, here's some things for you to think about, because these 3 guys are in entirely different levels of happiness. And you can pick which one you want to be, apparently, and I'm going to suggest it's number 2, but we're going to go through all 3, okay? So the first one is the guys they have not made their retirement yet. They have a plan, but they have not yet executed on it. They're here. This is all people that are here already. They have a plan, but they have not executed on it. So they're talking about they want to live in this other place. They're looking for a lady. The lady they're with isn't the right lady. They're striving and they're struggling and they're trying to. There's not as many of these guys, by the way. This is a rare thing. I think these guys either sort this out or they don't. And so they don't stay in this state very long. But the first type I notice, and then obviously the same type of thing is some guys that are still in their home countries that will reach out for help. And that's fine because you're not here yet. You're supposed to be asking these questions. That's no do-took on those guys at all because you're not here yet. How could you have retired successfully if you're not even here? So, but I run across these guys and they have a plan, but they haven't executed on anything, and they're mid-level happy. I have no idea if they just have come up with some ideas, and this is like their excuse why they're not with the lady they really like, or they're just mad because they had a fight with their girlfriend, or if they don't like their condo and they're dreaming about a house, but maybe don't have the funds for it, or don't have the a place picked out, or other skills or things, means necessary to execute on having and renting a house here, which is not a small thing. They're planning on having a better motorcycle or car, and they're driving this little pink thing that's obviously from their girlfriend or their girlfriend's mom or the rental company or whatever. It is kind of incongruous. You see some big, muscular, tough-looking guys, and one guy, he was literally riding a little tiny pink motorcycle. And he had like very muscular, younger, fit guy, a ton of inks, full sleeves on his arms, and some kind of real tough guy hairdo and everything. And it was making it work pretty good until you saw his motorcycle. And I was just thinking, that man needs a Harley Davidson. No, so this first type of guy, and I don't see very many of them, but they're talking a lot about what's going on in the future, and they're not very happy in the moment. They're not miserable, though. The important part is they're not miserable. They've made some plans, but they, for whatever reason, have been unable thus far by definition to execute, whether they just haven't had sufficient time, which is what they're stating. Typically, all to a man state that, or they've made plans that they're unable to execute on. That I couldn't tell you, but I would say the lesson from that is don't make plans you have really no way of executing on. I would make I am very big on being a realist. I stay within my pay grade, and I recommend you do that here. Just pick things that you know you're good at. When you're not good at something, man, try to either get help or come up with a workaround of some kind. You got to adapt, improvise, overcome, right? From that Clint Eastwood movie. So that's the first type. I'll try to keep this moving more quickly. The second type is these guys have it all done. They got it all set. They have full control of their retirement already. They've set up their money. They've got a woman in their life that they're happy with, or they don't, and they're just dating, and they know that's where they want to be. They've set the romantic side, the companionship, the sexual side of whatever they want. They've set that to where they know themselves well, obviously, and they're happy with whatever arrangements they've made. That's working for them. They're doing pay for play, or they've actually registered a marriage to a very sweet, nice lady. And these guys, when they marry, they marry nice ladies. They marry people that are solid. Like you meet them a few times, and you know that guy's not going to have any problems. You know what I mean? You get a sense from people like that. And so this second guy, they've kind of mastered the new universe of retirement. Obviously, their pensions are set. They've got banking applications set. They're living in a place that they like. They've got some beautiful. Some of these guys go to the beach. I bump into them, and I'm on vacation or whatever, and they'll share about their life and that. And you get a very good sense that they have really thought this through, and really sorted this out. Obviously, that's the goal for all of us. I think. I mean, my suggestion would be you consider making plans and putting everything together that you can envision yourself being that guy. For me, I'm already very happy every day, so I'm really kind of there in one way, and the other way, I'm upgrading my motorcycle, which will be important to me. That's almost like a spiritual, I wouldn't say spiritual, but it's like a meditative, peaceful kind of thing. There's something about man and machine and the time. I never want navigation or a phone or a music app tied into my motorcycle. What the heck would I want that crap for? I want to hear the engine and the wind and the traffic and the vendors and smell the foods as I'm going by and all that. I love that. And then, of course, I'm building the house, which is going to be set up as basically forward thinking a bit. On one hand, set up for my physicality today to have a Muay Thai bag, which will be a light bag, by the way. Some nice, safe, 2-inch foam, over 50 pads, we called them in my old gym in the States. Some of the trainers would tease me, Rob, you're on the over 50 pad. And I'm like, yeah, thank you. Let me get over there, because you got to watch it. And some light weights and stuff like that. And then a long term, a pool and whatnot. And I've picked the right person for this. Fawn has no issues with my age, lower mobility, lower energy level, needing a nap. She loves it, and she is what you would call a pension chaser. I would just say that flat out. And I've joked that she's like 40% of one, because everyone's more than just one thing. But she is a pension chaser, and I want to do a video on that, because it's not a bad thing. That can be a bad thing, but it doesn't have to be a bad thing. And next video I got to do pension chasers, because I've never talked about it, and it's a great group for us. It's a great group of ladies for us older guys. I recommend. I made up this vision in my mind. I was miserable 4 years ago. I had nothing. I didn't have my money sorted. I had no pension sorted. I had kind of possibly an idea of where maybe it could go, but I had nothing executed. I was obviously unhappy with my marriage. I was in the wrong continent. I was in the wrong cost structure. I cannot afford to retire in luxury in the United States. I could not do that. Here, I'm a baller. I afford to sell so easily, it's almost laughable. It's wonderful. Okay, you are 5 times wealthier. That's a 400% increase in your purchasing power if you move to the Isan region of Thailand from the Midwestern United States. It's a giant difference. If you're moving from Southern California, you're probably 8 times wealthier or something, right? Now, this last group, these are guys I bump into here a lot. This is a big group. This is the biggest group by far. But I don't know how many. I'm not going to try and give you percentages. I can't tell you that. What would be the point of my opinion on numbers? But this is by far easily the biggest group. In fact, these groups 1, 2, and 3 have been coming in larger size just by coincidence. The second group, the Master of the Universe group, is the second biggest. The wannabe masters that haven't done it is a small group. I can tell you that. I don't see too many of those guys. But this is most guys, and they have no idea. If you talk to them about, like, if I mention to a guy, get to know him a little bit, maybe bump into him a couple of times at an expat bar or a nice restaurant or whatever, or his wife is kind of works with Fawn or whatever, okay? And I ask, how did you kind of decide to, like, manage your pension and your income? I always say, and I mean it, I don't want to pry into someone else's life. I always say, I don't want to know anything about you personally. I'm just like, but how did you kind of come up with, like, your plan of how you're going to, like, manage and afford? And they're like, well, I don't know. I just got so much. I just came here. Oh, okay. How did you meet your lady? Well, she was at the massage parlor and she was really nice to me. And oh, you don't say. And I'm not kidding. This is. I want to just throw out, it's like 80% or something of guys. It's at least 70. It's crazy. It's crazy that. And now I did the same thing when I got married the first time. I had no plan. I had no idea. I had no concept. I never thought about what a divorce might look like and what kind of wealth I might lose. It never dawned on me because I didn't want a divorce. So it didn't occur to Rob that there's like this other person, the person that you're married to. Well, they got their thought too. They get a vote just as much as you do, my friend. None of this crossed my mind. I was a total dummy the first, and I will say that, absolutely admit that to anybody. I was a total dummy. I'm not throwing anything at my ex-wife. That's not the point. I'm just saying, whether your first wife is an angel or a demon or whatever, if you never gave any thought to it, you were acting like a dummy. If you got a great wife, then you lucked out. That's nice for you. But you wouldn't say, hey, just go and get lucky and say that to your son, give that advice to your son as he's looking for a woman. You wouldn't say that, I hope, right? And that's what I'm doing here. If I ask these guys, like, how are they managing their health or, their insurance or what, they're just deer in headlights, like no thought. There's a lot of people, I think, that just come here and they just get on a plane and they just come here and well, most guys do go to Pattaya or another major tourist area first, and that isn't all bad. And again, this is all just in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Nothing is right or wrong. It's just these are just my personal thoughts. But it isn't necessarily bad to go to a tourist area first, like I always say, because English is spoken more commonly. You'll find other people from your home country. And that does matter because I'm an American, obviously, and I found it very easy to get along with other Americans and Canadians. I get along just as well with Canadians as Americans. We always joke about that we're almost like one big country. They're extremely similar. And I've gotten along with the Australians I've met. I've gotten along really well with generally. There's been a couple exceptions to that, but I think that's the individual. But not necessarily so much other countries. And I've been surprised and kind of disappointed at that. There's been other Western countries that you'd think, oh, gee, we all can speak, or English is the official language or whatever. And you would think that, and man, that's just not true. And other European countries, particularly where English might not be the primary language, but it's a very, very, very common second language, and they actually speak English fluently. It's really disappointing to talk to some of those guys, and some of the stuff that comes out of their mouth is pretty unfriendly and kind of hostile. And I'm sitting at a restaurant with maybe Fawn and another guy and his wife. We're having a nice evening. We're all dressed nice at a decent place, and we're just quietly enjoying a meal. And I had this guy from Denmark really go off on me about American politics, and I just kept, oh, that's nice. I appreciate your opinion. I kept very obviously turning back to my meal, and he just would not let me enjoy my meal until he finally left. I didn't want to confront him. What gold star where do I go? What window do I go to get my golden ticket or star from confronting this guy? and then he shoves me and I break a rib or two. Now what have I done? Now I got what? I've got a bad reputation as a hothead at one of my favorite restaurants, and I got a guy that probably won't sue me because he's a foreigner just as much as I am, and I think he's got less legal ground than I do at that point. But none of this helps me, so I just kept, the smart play was to let him keep interrupting my meal, and eventually he did go away. So I just kept giving the bare minimum responses to not trigger an immediate argument. You get the idea. So when you come and you see and you go to these tourist places, on one hand, yes, it's nice. You can find people. If you're a Brit, you can find other Brits. If you're an Irishman, you find other guys. If you're an American, you find other people that maybe speak the same or can speak the same language as you. You're just going to find drastically less commonalities very quickly. I know a lot of the British guys go and hang together, and there's some American guys that kind of hang together. And I was the guy at lunch in high school that went to every table, and I saw the jocks and the cool people. And, I had the status of being a weightlifter, and so people tend to leave us alone. But that's my core personality, is I'm not a big group identifier. I'll just go, and I tried that here, and that ain't flying. So I tend to stay more, well, now I just stay in literally my own lane by myself, and I'm happy. But that I've just discovered more about myself, that I'm even more of a loner than I thought. And my son is a big loner, and I am just like that. I spend my day by myself, and I am happy. So, and you're going to find out about yourself too, maybe. I would encourage you, if you're coming here, you're thinking about it, or you're new here, I would sit down. One of my professors at Michigan State University said that less than 5% of the population has written plans going more than 1 year. I would absolutely write out a 5-year plan. I did. We all were forced to write a 5-year plan as one of our one of the big exams in the class, actually, was to write a 5-year life plan, and he critiqued it. And you better include all the elements he talked about. He was a hard ass. Kind of a cool guy, though. But I would do that. I would encourage you to sit down and write a 5-year plan for what you want for your retirement. Whatever year you're in now, today's the day you're starting. I don't know what else to tell you. Unless you got a time machine, you're starting today. So I will go through next year, the year after, the year after. I mean, I've had a formal plan through this year, what I'm doing and achieving, and I've gotten most of that. I got to say last year, actually. New Year's always tough on my brain. But 2024, had the surgery. It was good, and I'm healing. And I think that the pain that I do have now is just a combination of ghost pain and exercise pain. And exercise pain is going to hurt a lot more at a recent surgical site. I think it's taken me a while to realize that little nugget of wisdom too. Hashtag slow learner. So there you have that. And then for this year, for 2025, my plan is to finish the house, settle in with my new motorcycle, and really get everything dialed in to where I'm spending a couple days a week working out at home, more than a couple days, 3 to 4 days a week, working out at 1 or 2 various nice gyms. Every so many months, changing up the gyms just for a little different equipment, a little different angle, a little different something, keep the fatigue down, mentally and physically. And basically, I want to put this year in neutral. I've told Fawn, no big travel, no big stuff. I want easy. I want this year to be cruise control, healing, and enjoying my new schedule. And the 3 major things that I bought last year, which were roughly $1 million baht or more each, which was spine, house, motorcycle. That's my holy trinity. No, just making a little joke there. I consider myself a Christian, believe me, brother. But that's my big thing for this year. That's all I want to do. I'm not interested in if there's a big tour that's expensive and lengthy, but it's this awesome thing up in northern Vietnam, you know what? Next year, not this year. I want to do this year. I want a frickin' year off to heal and finish licking these wounds. And I want to do it in my luxurious comfort of my new toys, which is the house and the motorcycle. And I parked the motorcycle in the house, by the way. So, the living room. How about that? So, that's what I want. And that's my plan. Those guys are the happiest. This is the happiest I've been. I can't even imagine how nice it'll feel to have the new things that I've already paid for and I'm working on. Not that things can make you happy. So there's the three types of guys that I run across here. Everybody invariably fits in one of those three groups. You got the guy with a plan but no execution. I couldn't tell you whether he just hasn't quite done it yet, as they're saying. I tend to doubt that, but whatever. And then you got the second guy, which are impressive people. Some of the guys I've met here that have just, I mean, they speak fluent Thai. They worked here for 40 years telling other Thais how to build major like construction projects, dams and power plants and stuff like that. And they're speaking Thai to everybody. I mean, bad freaking ass dudes. I mean, really impressive, you know, and things like that. And then the last group, which is unfortunately the overwhelming majority of people here that just have given, I mean, virtually on all the things they'll kind of ask. I'm not trying to be a jerk. I'm just asking like, well, how you doing? What you doing? You know, and conversationally, and it'll just come out later that, geez, that guy. I mean, and they're obviously these tend to be pretty unhappy guys, or kind of lost, or however you want. I'm not trying to be mean, but these aren't people you would want to trade lives with. Let me say, and you get all that. So that's my content. Yesterday my Thai was off. I was just struggling. Grabbed the totally wrong word a couple times, used the totally wrong tone on a couple words, made up some new words. Today we're firing on all cylinders. I just very politely, in proper Thai, explained my situation with having the wrong size shoes. They have a no exchange policy, but by being polite and persistent, I got them exchanged. And then I spoke clear enough, which is rare for me. The voice to text on my Thai keyboard correctly translated my words and sent the text to Fawn that I got it all done. So I'm going to reward myself with a Starbucks coffee. To making my channel moderately informative. They poured a little bit here. Maybe this transition was, yeah, they probably can't manage that transition. That's not a coincidence. And this is what's called a cold joint. Two pieces of concrete are going to be poured over, you know, more than a few hours apart. That's a cold joint. And if you're going to do a cold joint, tapering it like that is the proper way to do it. And this is an excellent place to put a cold joint because they're weaker and there's hardly any load here. So, like almost none, really. All of this is overkill and ain't going nowhere. So, anyways, there we are. Doing a very light shoulder workout. Got my insanely large Bluetooth speaker. We used to call it a boombox. And I told one of Fawn's boys if he'd sweep up a big pile of leaves and clean up my yard, I'd light it on fire for him. And Fawn and her dad are back there putting together a bed that I bought for the rental room. It's the freedom. Thailand literally means place of freedom, but man, it really does work. It's no regulations, I mean, there's some, but a lot less crap you got to deal with than back home. And we're up to visit number 6 at the dealership. Sat on it again today, and now the seat kind of fits me pretty good. They have a Harley Davidson accessory, little tiny short backrest. I think it's like what you have. And I'm just going to buy one of those, and I think we're all good on the seat. For now, anyways. Get me riding. Looking like picking it up maybe next week. So, crazy. Stopped and posed for a tourist picture with a local Thai truck driver. It was so incongruous to him to see a foreign man, walking along the road, and I pointed to the sign. I go, "Q Cafe," and he looked over, he looked at me, and he laughed. I'm hungry for coffee, and I'm walking to the coffee shop. All right, I got to pay attention to traffic. Hey, bud, love ya. Just taking a morning stroll. Oh, this is one of my new polo shirts. Hang on, your old man these days. Anyhow, this is my morning walk at this little rustic village. We're staying in that first unit there. Kind of a man's thing. Very nice. Very caveman-ish. A lot of ponds and waterfalls. That sound is more soothing than I remembered. It was really, I slept fantastic. My toast is going on a little conveyor belt journey of tastiness. Thank you for watching my YouTube video. If you've watched this far, please consider hitting like and subscribe.